Commission to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Peck,
Here.
Commissioner Angel,
Here.
Commissioner Arpke,
Here.
Commissioner Jennings,
Here.
Commissioner Larson.
Here.
Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open the meeting up for the Citizens Open Forum. This is a time when any citizen can come forward and discuss a particular topic that is not on today's agenda. Doesn't look like anyone is here today for that, so we will move on to public hearings and items scheduled for a certain time.
Item 5.1, citizen comments on the 2011 budget proposal.
We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Does not look like anyone is here to comment on the budget proposal. I will go ahead and close the hearing. Move on to item number 6, the consent agenda.
Item 6.1, approve the minutes of July 19, 2010. Item 6.2, award of contract for the sanitary sewer manhole rehabilitation. Project number 10-2832 to Mayor Specialty Services, LLC, in the amount of $122,277.50. Item 6.3, award change order number 1 for the 2010 microsurfacing project number 10-2790. Item 6.4, approve change order number 5 with Larkin Excavating Incorporated for the Municipal Solid Waste Landfill Facility number 5 construction project, an authorized contract with APAC Kansas in the amount of $60,733.75. Item 6.5, resolution number 10-6752, establishing a commercial yard waste fee for the solid waste landfill.
Is there any item on the consent agenda that a commissioner would like to see taken off? If not, I'll bring this back to the commission.
Move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. There is no development business, so we'll move on to administration.
Item 8.1, second reading ordinance number 10-10550, vacating a portion of South Eastboro Road, south of Sites Drive in the Country Club Heights Edition number 3 and the Country Club Estates Edition number 3.
Ordinance number 10-10550 was passed on first reading on July 19th, 2010. Based on the amended petition signed by Jason A. and Kathy M. Graves, the abutting owners on the east side of the South Eastboro Road, this ordinance vacating the right-of-way for the southern portion of the South Eastboro Road has been modified to vacate all of the remaining right-of-way south of the existing terminus of the street paving instead of just the west half. If we approve this on the second reading, the east 35 feet would revert to the ownership of Jason A. and Kathy M. Graves, and the west 25 feet to Ron Williams. Because of existing utilities in place, the vacated right-of-way would be retained as a public utility/drainage easement. Are there any comments from commissioners on this? Questions or comments? Okay, I'll accept a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 10-550 as modified on second reading.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we adopt ordinance number 10-10550 as modified on second reading. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Angel,
Aye.
Commissioner Arpke,
Aye.
Commissioner Jennings,
Aye.
Commissioner Larson,
Aye.
Mayor Peck.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Item 8.2, Bicentennial Center project reconsideration.
Mr. Perry.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Last week we had presented to you this list of the projects that we were working on, and the Commission had requested some information as to what it would take to do the illumination or the parking lot lights for that lot as opposed to doing the riser refurbishing in the arena. We kind of crunched some numbers, came together with a kind of a fairly wide range of cost on doing the parking lot lighting, which is $70,000 to $100,000, depending upon what it would take. One of the concerns that y'all had expressed is if doing this if we did the installation of the pedestals for the RV wiring and et cetera, would we be disturbing the milling and surface overlay at a future date? The answer to that is no. The way we're planning on doing any type of work in this parking lot is it's a boring process. It's a horizontal boring process. We should not be impacting the milling and overlay to be done at a future basis. We did come up with some concerns with regard to, if, as I mentioned in the report, is that on the second page, is that if we went on ahead and did the parking lot lights, would it be fitting in with the overall master design of the river plan? Would we save any money in doing those lights now or doing parking lot lights piecemeal? No, we really would not. In fact, it might actually wind up costing us more trying to do a little now and then do another lot later. It'd be better to do them all at one shot. The primary reason for that is because the way the parking lot lights are controlled is that is actually controlled inside the facility. All of this RV parking is a separate electrical connection that's out in the parking lots. It's like connecting over here and connecting over here. It's two totally separate areas. We mentioned in the report about the concern about the layout of the parking lots now. One of the designs that I have seen as far as being presented by the River Project is a future parking lot expansion across the midway from the Bicentennial Center. It's very green and in its design with lots of islands, and we don't have that now. If we put in the parking lot lights now, would we have to take them back up to kind of mirror that look? So we ran into a lot of challenges trying to balance this out, and we kind of came to the conclusion that in staff's opinion, it would be best to stick with the way we currently have the projects listed. I'm more than willing to answer any questions from the commissioners or any concerns you might have.
Questions, Mr. Perry?
Thank you very much for doing that. I'm the one that raised that, and I appreciate the additional information, and I think that will, at least I'd like to recommend, from my opinion, that we go with the Timeline 1 projects.
This might be a question for Mr. Gillum, but you might be able to answer it as well. I'm in support of this the way it is. You did bring up something when you were talking about that, and depending upon if there does become a river project under one of the scenarios, it's an expansion into that whole area, so these risers would be moot. But are they such that we would be able to electrically disconnect them and relocate the risers in effect to a different area if
I'm
that
sorry.
happened in the future?
No, and I apologize, I did not bring the slides and show them up for you, sir. No, those risers are good where they are.
But if they had to be relocated in the future, they could be picked up. We're not
Sure.
hurting ourselves by spending that now.
No, the design of those, Commissioner, those we've easily got just on the pedestal itself a 25-year life cycle on that. The wiring that's underground about 50 years.
Yeah.
And we've expressed that we're not seeking to become an RV park, and the limited use that we do on it, we should be good for a long time on these.
Good, okay, thank you.
There are no further questions. I'll bring this back to the commission.
Mayor, I move that we move forward with option 1 as set forth in the discussion regarding the Bicentennial Center project reconsideration.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and move forward with option 1 pertaining to the Bicentennial Center reconsideration. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Item 8.3, first reading ordinance number 10-10,560, approving the issuance of general obligation bonds by the Salina Airport Authority.
Mr. Franz.
Mayor and Commissioners, thank you. The Salina Airport Authority is an arm of the city, And as a result, when they are planning on issuing bonds, they're generally required to come to the city and ask permission to do so, which is what they've done. They intend to issue $4.3 million in bonds to make improvements at the facility. The Commission's options in this case would be to disapprove the resolution by passing a city ordinance to do so, to unconditionally approve it, or to approve the resolution and then publish a notice making it subject to a referendum. Staff recommendation is for an unconditional approval. We do have Mr. Rogers here if you have questions about the nature of the improvements. He's much better qualified to explain that than I am. And so I'd be glad to answer any questions, or if Mr. Rogers has comments, I'm sure he'd be happy to make them.
Mr. Franz, on the resolution in Section 3, it refers to $12 million. But in Section 1 and 2, it talks about $4,300,000. They're not really fully understanding what's in front of me. I just wanted to seek a little guidance from you on what is Section 3 referring to here.
I'm going to defer to Tim.
Thank you.
On that one.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the Commission. The Salina Airport Authority is coming before the City Commission today to ask for the unconditional approval of the issuance of additional GO bond debt financing in the amount of $4,300,000. At the same time we issue this debt, we'll be refinancing temporary notes that were used to construct the speculative building, that Hangar 600, that was built to draw in new aviation aerospace jobs into the airport industrial center, and the community. We are at a point in time where we do not have the full-time tenant in that facility. We do have part-time tenant in the facility, Bombardier Learjet. We have been successful to improve and develop develop our business relationship with that aviation aerospace company. They are doing flight test work at the airport now. But the west half of the hangar still, we're seeking a long-term tenant, and we have a couple of prospects that are still coming. But we need the additional time and the temporary notes before we can finalize long-term financing for that building. And that is the difference between the dollars, the $7 million, is for the continuing temporary notes for approximately another 18 months. And as we finalize a full-time tenant in Hangar 600, we would go to long-term financing in the form of building revenue bonds, or leasehold revenue bonds, certificates of participation that will reduce that GO bond debt at that point in time. The $4.3 million, that is new borrowing, new debt under the Airport Authority Stability District General Obligation Bonds, several primary projects that we have underway for that financing. First is the design of the new airport fire station. We are Wednesday morning, the Airport Authority Board will be considering a grant offer from the Federal Aviation Administration to fund 65% of the design of the new airport fire station. The funding, part of the $4.3 million, is the local share for that federal grant. We've also have some other airfield improvements that we'll be completing with the proceeds of the $4.3 million. Again, these are improvements that go to temporary financing, and as we finalize the project, have costs that are known and defined, we can go to permanent financing either internally or go to GO bonds, a long-term GO bond issue for those projects. Most significant out of this $4.3 million, the Airport Authority will be taking the initial steps to begin to plan for the departure of Hawker Beechcraft Corporation. At the present time, the Airport Authority has deleted 2 Hawker Beechcraft buildings from their base lease. Their lease for approximately 490,000 square feet. On August 1st, the Airport Authority will take possession of 2 buildings, a hangar, 40,000 square foot hangar, Hangar 606, and a warehouse building, Hangar 620. Again, through the marketing and recruiting efforts That's a partnership of the city, the county, the Airport Authority, the Chamber, Kansas Department of Commerce, and other resources we have out there. We have 2 prospects for both those projects. But we need to turn those buildings into leasable, tenable space for a new aviation aerospace project coming to this community and creating jobs to replace the jobs being lost by the departure of Hawker Beechcraft. We also have Hangar 959 that we're beginning early design work on. 959 is the big jumbo hangar at the north end of the airport industrial center. It's a significant landmark. In each case, 606, 620, we are financing both the A&E design phase and the initial construction rehabilitation phase for those buildings to have them ready as soon as possible for new tenants. 959 is a large structure, larger, much more complex issues as we work with that new possible prospect or company in there. We are on track to design the improvements and possibly have 959 leased almost a year before Hawker Beechcraft vacates from that building. We're working towards a 2011 lease so that new project, new company can come in and take occupancy in 2012. But we need to design the improvements, estimated some $4.5 million, that building alone. That's a financing that will come later on at a later time. The Airport Authority Board has looked at mill levy requirements as associated with GO bond debt. We do project as we lease the buildings out, as we find new tenants and we increase the lease revenue off these facilities, especially the Hawker Beechcraft facilities that were at a current below market rent. We're forecasting new revenue coming in as early as 2012 in the range of $1 million annually from these rehabilitated facilities, that we can not only create new jobs and payroll, but we increase the revenue generating capacity of those buildings. So we are looking at the need for future payment of the GO bond issue from future lease revenues from these facilities. The current mill levy, the Airport Authority levies, is 4.315 mils. As we projected ahead and through 2020 in our financial forecasting, we take that operating revenue that becomes available as we upgrade facilities, lease them out, and increase their market value. We also increase our revenue into our operating budget at the same time. But we're projecting immediately for in fact, the Airport Authority has set its mill levy for 2011 at 4.055, a decrease in our mill levy. And we're showing that with future revenues, our mill levy will be able to maintain a level of 4 mils, the 3.5 mils, as we go through our forecast period, most definitely up throughout 2015, 2018 in that time frame. So we have looked at the variety of scenarios here, looking at the minimum borrowing that we need right now to prepare. Most likely a year from now about this time we'll have another significant bond issue as we get into 2011 and get closer to the 2012 departure of Hawker Beechcraft, and we have some more buildings to work on, but this is the first step in that process. Again, the Airport Authority's enabling statute has contemplated the ability to issue general obligation bonds to enable the Airport Authority to be able to develop the airport industrial center properties that it owns for the purpose of economic development, job creation for our community. Be glad to answer any other questions that the Commission may have.
This time, do you have any idea of the amount of employment that your prospects might bring?
We do. We have actually there are 3 solid actually lease agreements that we are in the next 30 days we will be presenting to prospects, and we have then the fourth out there. They total about 400 new jobs. Keep in mind, Hawker Beechcraft, when they made their announcement, the employment was about 235. So we do see the possibility that we can see the replacement of those jobs, not entirely like the same type of jobs that Hawker Beechcraft provided in the community, but I think in the prospects for our recovery from this setback with Hawker Beechcraft leaving, I think to me, it's a wonderful opportunity in one sense. We get the buildings back. I'm restating this, but the buildings come back off lease. They are rehabilitated. We've actually increased the capabilities of the buildings to support an employer to create jobs. And our target is different too. The projects that we're working on are aviation service related, maintenance, repair, and overhaul. We still have some interest in manufacturing, but we're looking at a part of the aviation sector that's a little more somewhat insulated, a little bit better insulated from the ups and downs of the economy. New aircraft always need maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities. If production is up, MRO facilities to take overflow. If aircraft sales are down, aircraft owners and operators will take their used aircraft or their older aircraft and run it through an MRO facility to extend the life. And we have seen that with CAV Aerospace. CAV Aerospace is an MRO type of business in that segment, and their employment has maintained steady through the economic downturn. In fact, they have grown their presence here, and they're currently adding employment at the Salina Aviation Service Center. So we think we're heading in the right direction along those lines.
I just want to say thanks to you and your staff for all the work you guys are doing getting new employers in there. I know you've been hustling to try and find new employers to take over those buildings. And thank you for working your budget hard enough to start bringing that mill levy back down for everybody.
Well, the Airport Authority Board was that was a strong direction they wanted to give us, bring the mill levy down. And we, after hitting a peak last year, and we are finding the means to do that. The economic development efforts, very much a partnership. I appreciate, the Commission's support for that partnership. The city, the county, the Airport Authority, the Chamber, Kansas Department of Commerce. We are using also the services of the James Gregory Consultancy out of Wichita. Mr. Gregory has made trips to Oklahoma, Texas. Latter part of August, Mr. Gregory will be making a trip through our West Coast swing, Sacramento down to San Diego. We have a list of 40 different prospects that we're paring down. He'll be visiting and meeting with as many as 20 to 25. The Farnborough Air Show this past week, the Kansas Department of Commerce was promoting Salina, the Salina Aviation Service Center, meeting with potential prospects, international prospects, and talking about Salina. Again, the program that the Airport Authority, the Chamber, and partnership with the city and county that we've undertaken for the aviation service, aviation aerospace jobs is fairly complex now, and a lot of folks working on our behalf. We're doing a lot of the work on our own to find the companies that we want them to learn about us first. We are targeting the prospects we want to go to, and less of a broad brush and trying just to catch anybody. We have companies we think they are a good fit for Salina and Saline County. We want to bring them here. And then we'll also be now doing later part of the year as an East Coast trip, working with aviation aerospace companies on the East Coast. And then we continue and we just repeat the efforts. Mr. Lauber with the Chamber of Commerce will be meeting with site selectors here later on in a week or so at a conference, again, talking about the Aviation Service Center. So there's a lot going on in the marketing effort to recruit the type of businesses that bring good paying jobs to our community, and we think can be a long-term match and partner.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. Entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve Ordinance 10-10-560 on first reading, unconditionally approving the authority's resolution number 10-02.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance number 10-10560 on first reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0.
Mayor, I move to recess into executive session for 20 minutes for the purpose of discussing matters pertaining to non-elected city personnel for the reason that public discussion of the matter would violate the privacy rights of the non-elected personnel involved, and reconvene at 4:45 p.m.
It's been moved and seconded that...
Second.
No. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we recess into executive session. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5-0. We are in executive session. We do not expect any action.
I know, I should.
You're okay.